Good morning, I'm Harmony and this is my channel, Harmony Stitches. Here we talk about my adventures in crafting, usually with cross stitch, knitting, and crochet. Thank you so much for joining me today, whether you have been with me for a while or this is your first time visiting. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to see what I've been up to this week in my crafts. Last week I did have to record the entire video because human error. I accidentally deleted it somehow. And in the second recording, I forgot to talk to you about how the secret stitch was received. When he opened it, he giggled and laughed. He actually asked me when I stitched it. And I said, while you were gone. And because I was working from home, there was a lot of time, the commute time that I didn't have to spend, my lunch break, and then after my workday got done, if he was still gone, then I could stitch. So he asked about that. He promptly put it up on the bookshelf on display. I did glue down the rest of the sides because he thinks it's fine the way it is. And while I was doing that, I got my daughter's Lizzie Kate out and framed that. Last time we visited together, I told you that she planned to paint the frame red, like rustic red. But we, once we were pulling all of the pieces out to get ready to do that, we found that the fabric was quite yellow on the yellow side, like the ivory or antique side, and the red stitching was quite bright. So she felt that it was fine the way that it was. She no longer wanted to paint the frame. She just wanted it framed. So I did my best at ironing out the wrinkles from the Aida, and I centered it as best I could, and there we go. And this is called Let Freedom Ring by Lizzie Kate. It's a really simple pattern that anybody can do. And that was her very first cross stitch. She hasn't completed anything since then. She chose projects that were a little bit too big and she felt overwhelmed, and she hasn't stitched in well over a year. That's okay. She'll either come back to or I'll take over those projects for her. The next thing that I dug out is a Honeybee Sampling by Little House Needleworks. I started stitching this last year for my birthday, and I finished it in just a couple of weeks. I have this hexagon that I got at the dollar store actually, with chicken wire. And what I'm going to do is finish this on cardboard like I always do, and then have this pink fabric to go behind it, and then put it right in the center here. And I think, I'm not sure yet, but because this is a couple inches deep, I was thinking about getting a piece of styrofoam to go on the back to bring it forward a little. Or I'm just going to put it in there and then maybe find some little like knick-knack things to sit down on the bottom. I'm not sure yet, but I will figure it out as I go. So hopefully I'll be able to get this done by next Sunday so I can show you. I have a whole stack of cross stitches that have been completed and need to be finished. I do have some supplies to do that, and so as I dig through things and pair them up with the stuff I have, or finding stuff at the store, then I'll continue to show you where I've gotten with those. All right, let's start with summer sock camp. Sock set, or pair number 1 is yarn by Ridiculous, and this was, the colorway is a quote from the movie Hocus Pocus. It's a really long one. And I did these on 9-inch circulars, except for the heel flap, the heel turn, and the picking up the gusset stitches. I did those on DPNs. And then put it back on the 9-inch circular once I got done with picking up. And then with the toes, I did those on DPNs as well to do the decreases. Pair number 2 is My First Socks by Marley Bird. This is the Regal colorway of the Chic Sheep by Marley Bird. And these I did on DPNs the entire way. So that's pair number 2. Pair number 3 is Vanilla Souffle, and I don't, it's Christy somebody, I of course will link below. I did these on 9-inch circular except for the picking up of the gusset stitches, sorry. I'm doing so many things here with the socks, it's hard to keep it straight. I did do the heel flap and the heel turn on the 9-inch circular. It's not my favorite. My tension is different, and I don't know. Well, on camera, it looks pretty good, but my tension was different on the slip stitches or something, and they don't pop as well as on the other pair when I did it on DPNs. So this is the Vanilla Souffle, and this is Earmuffs from the colorway is Earmuffs from the Quotable Dumbledore Club from lolodidit. And the colorway is very similar actually to the pattern cover photo on that pattern. So that's pretty cool. I did cast on, after I got done with Vanilla Souffle, I did cast on Tantamount, which was the one I talked to you last week, using Happiness, which is another yarn from the Quotable Dumbledore Club. And I have this much of one sock. I actually got to about this point and ripped the whole thing out because I didn't like the way that it was looking. So I'm actually two rounds further than I was previously. And here's the stitch detail, just getting started. I think I'm on row 7. With this one, you need lots of concentration. At least I do. I have to have my pattern pages out. There's some new stitches that I haven't done before, some cabling, and it's all by chart. So she does give you a description of what the stitch is, but then you have to read the entire instructions off the chart. There's no written instructions for the actual rows. So this one's going to take me some time. I think that I do have a second sock set of these needles on my Amazon wish list. So hopefully my family will get them for me for Christmas or something. So that way, when I put a sock like that on the needles, I'm not stuck. I can go back and forth between different socks a little bit easier, because that one I'm going to have to do when I have quiet time. So it might take me a while to get sock number 4 done. But then my family and I went to the UP, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, on Friday, got back Saturday, and I knew that I was going to need car projects and projects there's a lot of waiting time, because what we are doing is rock hunting on special rocks called Lights, and you do that in the night, in the dark. So I knew that after we went on our sightseeing, our tourism things, that we were going to have some downtime. So I started a new sock. And this is another pair of my first socks by Marley Bird, using Chic Sheep by Marley Bird. And this colorway is suede. And here's the label if you want to check it out. Suede. And I had this cast on. I think I cast it on Wednesday night, maybe Thursday night, I think. And I was looking at my husband, I said, didn't I make a pair of this color already? And he said, I don't know. And I think I did. I think I meant to grab the opposite color, which is the silver color. And I think I grabbed this one by mistake, but it's fine. I love the squishiness of these socks, and they're going to be so warm. They're so warm in the wintertime. Sometimes if my feet are cold and I'm in the house, I will just go ahead and throw them on top of the socks that I already have on, and my feet get warmed up so quickly. So then yesterday, before we came home, we were headed to the lower falls of the Tequamanon State Park. There's an upper falls and a lower falls park, which I did not know, so I learned some stuff yesterday. I cast on sock number 2 because I did finish that on our trip, I think Friday night. So I cast on sock number 2, and between where we were staying and the falls, it was 12 miles. So I did get about halfway through the ribbing. And then when we were at the upper falls on Friday, I saw something at the gift shop I wanted, but for some reason I didn't buy it. So we went back to the upper falls, and I finished the ribbing on the way to the upper falls. And then I knit the rest, almost all the rest of this on the way home. But then when I got home, my husband ran to get some dinner, and I had 4 rows until I had the leg portion done. So I knit the 4 rows and then set it aside. And I have this much of the ball left. I do have one more ball. With the purple pair, I actually used 1 ball for each sock, but then now I have 2 partial balls left, and I thought maybe I should just use up 1 ball before I start the next one. I don't think this is going to be enough to finish the entire sock, but it's going to be close. And I do have another ball in my stash. So I got a whole bunch of it at one time. So I have green, and I actually bought it twice. I bought a whole bunch, then I bought a whole bunch more. She was doing a knit along, so I bought what was needed for that. And then I started the event, and I decided that that wasn't something that I wanted to make. It was a mystery, but as the clues came out, I decided it wasn't what I want to do. So I have all this yarn in my stash. So I will probably do several pairs of those. Once I get that one done, I will probably make a green pair. I have light green and dark green. So that's that with the knitting. My plans are to continue to make socks until the end of summer sock camp, which is August 31st is the last day. So hopefully I will be able to build up my hand knit stash. I don't have very many. A lot of the stocks that I have right now are shorties or shorter than what the standard long leg is. So we'll see how far I get before I get burnt on socks. Okay, last week we did the wheel spin for my new start, and it came on Pumpkin Carriage by Owl Forest Embroidery. On Sunday afternoon, I did put about 3 strands in, and that is how much I got for 3 strands. This is 28 count Monaco, coffee tea dyed by me. And no, I did not iron it yet. I'm not that concerned. I kind of like the wrinkly look. You're going to have the wrinkly look in there anyways from where you squished the fabric to get the modeling. But here's a close-up. There is one of those leaves in all 4 corners. And then there's the border of the pumpkin and the vines that goes all the way across the piece. All right, so I didn't get very much of this done this week, but that's okay. We started our summer hours, which are 4 10-hour shifts. Here's the color palette. So I've actually been on the clock more working. I went to the office on Tuesday. So for 5 more weeks, I will be working 10-hour shifts, and I will lose a little bit of crafting time, but it's all right. I'll get done what I get done and then just keep moving on from there. And then after the 10-hour shifts, well, actually, on July 6th, I go back to the office full time, so I will lose more crafting time then as well because I'll be commuting. So I might, for the rest of the summer, I might go down to every other week because I won't have a lot to show you guys because my crafting time is going to dwindle. Some days it's going to be down to almost nothing. So I think from this week through the end of August, I will go down to every other week and then show you everything that I've done during those 2 weeks. Okay, so this one, the next one is the Alice in Wonderland Sal by Owl Forest Embroidery. Part 5 did come out on Friday, and I did get stitching on that a little bit. I did not get as far as I wanted, again, with the work schedule, but the work comes first. So here is what we have so far. And as you can see underneath of Alice, there's more doodads. And it's because we are continuing the adventure of falling down the hole. There's some spades over there on, what would it be, the right, and then a purple door. And the door is almost finished. It needs a doorknob and some hinges. Oops, can't see what I'm showing you. And then there's a key. The key is almost finished. There's a heart there in the center of the top, and then a little bit more. And then, oh, 1 second. Here, let me fold it. And then here we have a bottle with a potion, and it's I'm outlining the bottle, so I'm almost finished. And then it has a little topper. This is a tag. It will say "Drink Me." And then there's just a couple of more things down below underneath. And then that's part 5. So I am getting there. I did not work anymore on the border of across the top because I wanted to stitch on those things this week. We did add, let's see, what did we add? We added the purple this week which I didn't even write the number on here. And yes, my floss is messy because I save my extras for, you never know when you're gonna get to a spot in the pattern where you're gonna have 2 stitches or whatever. Or like yesterday when I was working on the potion in that bottle, I ran out with only 2 stitches left and I didn't have a scrap, so I had to use a whole new strand. But if I had a scrap of blue, then that would have been perfect to put in those 2 stitches, and then I wouldn't be using a whole strand. So it's just a way for me to be frugal with my threads. You don't have to do it that way. These are all tangled. Just one moment. But you don't have to do that with your threads if you don't want to. That's just a way that I'm frugal with mine. Or I try to be frugal with it. Sometimes it backfires on me. All right, so this week we added the purple. I don't even have the tag. And since it's a digital pattern on my phone, I don't have that. We will be adding 162, which is a pale blue. Oop, the sun is coming in. I had to open the shade today because it's very cloudy with the weather that we're having here in Michigan this weekend. So those are the 2 colors that we added this week. And I think that's it. I think that's all the colors now will be added in after that. So I am really excited about this project still. I can't wait to see what comes up next week. I kind of feel like it's following the story with her sitting under the tree with the white rabbit, then she falls down the hole, and then we have more of that coming. So I don't know the story too well except for the Disney animated version, so I'm just kind of just going with the flow and seeing what's going to happen next. All right, so next up is Pandemic. If you remember from last week, I was a little bit behind. I am even farther behind than I was then. I really did try to stitch the most that I could on Pandemic, but a couple of things. One, I had a longer work schedule this week, and then we went up north, so it was too big for me to take in the car, so I didn't get to stitch. I think I only stitched 2 strands on it Friday morning before we left, and then I did stitch on it last night. I got 4 strands in last night, but still, that means even between Friday and Saturday combined, I was behind a lot, and I was behind more than that before we even left to go. I am getting to the point where I'm going to have to move my frame. I think what I'm going to do is take it off of this big frame that my husband made me, put it on my 11 by 11 Q-snap, move it all the way to the left, and finish that page that page 10. I think you have to count backwards, so 15, it would be page 11. So I need to finish page 11 and 12, I think, and then I can move it back up and then do that part that I couldn't do because of it being out of reach. I did hurt my shoulder in November. I think it's fine. I just think that all the reaching, and you have to go up behind it to stitch 2-handed. I think it just aggravates that injury a little bit. And so I'm trying to avoid times where I'm hurting myself. So changing the frame is just what needs to happen. All right. So here we are so far. And that's a lot of stitching that's taken place here in June, hasn't it? Because in June, I came back up here, finished this page, I believe, in May, and then in June, I started to go up. So all of this, basically almost all of what you see on the screen right now has been completed in June. So that's a whole bunch of stitching. So this week, I was working over here. And it's hard to hold this big old thing and show you at the same time. So as you can see, this is very similar to these ones over here that I don't like very much. It's not as detailed and definitely not as long, so it was a little bit easier. However, there's another band of it here that will go here. It's just a little bit shorter. So they do keep getting shorter. So I am almost there. And then here I have a few stitches. I need to finish the owl and finish the crown. And what I do is I grab a strand and I put in the strand, and where I end up is where I end up. And then if I only have a few stitches left in that motif, then I move on so that way I can grab a new strand and put the whole thing in without having to cut it off. And then I use my scraps to fill in those small areas. So I am going to do that first before I move on, because I'm afraid that I will forget when I come back. So I do try to finish the motifs before I move the frame, so that way I don't forget anything. And even though I'm so far behind on this, I actually have a little pocket. These are all of the strands that I'm behind. But even though I'm so far behind, I do feel that I will be able to finish this by the end of the year, because if I stayed on schedule and did 8 strands a day, I would have it done by the beginning of October. So I have wiggle room. I'm just afraid of burnout on this one. So let's see, we have 4 full strands, right? No, it's 18 and 5 is 23. I am 25 strands behind. That's including today's, which is Sundays, I believe. I don't know. I'm not going to add any more strands to it until I get it done. I just can't continue to feel stressed out about being behind. I'm just going to work on these ones, and when I get them done, then I'll pull out more, and I'll just keep working and working and working. So I am a little bit behind, but it's okay. I still feel like I am going to get done by the end of the year. The back stitching, I'm not really worried about, because there's a lot of areas that don't really have a lot of back stitching. So I'm not worried about that. So plans for the upcoming week. In regards to knitting, I'm going to continue to knit socks for summer sock camp until August 31st. I may have said that earlier in the video. I can't remember. I will finish the My First Socks by Marley Bird. I'll cast another pair on. That way I can work on those like when I'm in the car or something with my husband, like on grocery shopping. And then I'll have Tantamount for times where I'm by myself and I have a little bit of quiet time, which is often enough when my daughter goes to work or my husband's still at work or whatever. Maybe on my lunch breaks at work when I go back to the office next month. I'm not sure if that will be quiet time enough. We'll see what happens. So we'll see how many pairs of socks that I can get done during summer sock camp. And then with stitching, I will continue stitch on Pandemic, of course, by Long Dong Stitchers. And then I will continue to do the new wheel start, or the new start wheel, to see what cross stitch comes up. I did not do a new wheel or a new start wheel today, because I thought, even though I didn't get very much done on the My Pumpkin Carriage, I'm going to put that in the bin. And I'm going to go backward, and I'm going to start on Bittersweet Trio, because I did get that on the wheel spin, but I didn't get to start it because of my threads. So now that I have all of the threads except for the one that was out of stock, I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. And then I'll show you that next video, and then we'll have another wheel spin then. So I will come back to you. I can't do math in my head. Whatever the first Sunday, second Sunday of July. So not the 4th, but the 11th. I will come back and show you the progress over the last 2 weeks. And I'll only do one new start wheel spin every 2 weeks. So that way I can give myself 2 weeks on that project instead of just one. Because as you saw, I was only able to work on Pumpkin Carriage on Sunday. And because my craft time will be cut down tremendously because of the 10-hour shifts and going back into the office, I'm not really going to have much to show, because most of it I'm going to try to put in Pandemic, so I don't know what else I'll have to show you. So just know that everything is fine. When you don't see me next week, everything will be fine. It's just that I'm going to space them out a little bit more to show you more content in each video. And we will be back full time maybe in August, because my 10-hour shifts only last until the 30th of July. And then in August, we go back to regular shifts. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. It only will last a couple of weeks, and then from there we'll go on as usual. So that is all I have to share with you this week. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you back here on July 11th. Have a great holiday. Bye.